like better banana control. You've got your 2 players there yet again. Utility being used up. So Bren are hearing that, and that's basically telling them, okay, this isn't going to be the weak banana defense that it was before. But with that said, immediately we're back to a 4-man A stack. And it's just so weird. You talked about the early detection system, Jason. They just don't want that. They're happy to leave Advent all by himself in CT.
Yeah, I mean, what you typically would put like an opper over near car, at least to watch the angle coming around towards banana with the Molotov and a smoke to just delay for the rotations to come through. But as you pointed out before, he's not even really in the site. He's over towards CT spawn. And if they do come in, if they walk it through with no utility, he's not even going to know they're there until they're basically going to be planting the bomb down. So a little bit of rough times. Almond, I mean, you will have the ability to rotate back in towards the B site. But again, these stacks, I don't know what Bren's doing, but they're playing so smart. They've been able to basically move away from it almost every single time we've seen it happen. And the smoke will come down, the flashbangs as well. But, I mean, Advent just has to hit some crazy shots. Where's the CT smoke? Wits, he has a smoke. What?
Well, they threw it down eventually, but I think that's a little bit too late. That is such a huge gap in the offense to go through. I guess everybody thought someone else was going to throw it. This time, though, going through the smoke. Wits turns from the flash, goes on through. They weren't expecting it, and at least 1 kill to be found, but not quick enough to land the second afterwards. Kaze, inside the Molotov, has to bail on back, and Pro is here to swing with them and try to get this trade. They've got to move fast before Jam Young gets into position. He's smoked off the swing. Wits is taken down from behind. They know where Pro is now as well, here in the steps, and Jam Young able for the double to close this round out and put the defuse on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was getting a little nervous there. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Bren, I mean, you can both agree, deserved to lose that round. Like,
Definitely.
They had smokes. They didn't smoke off CT. They lost a couple players from it. I think Advent got like 1 on site, and that was about it. And that eventually cost them the round, and they lose a large chunk of change that they were able to save up in these last few rounds as well. And they're actually going for the op. Okay, so I feel like in like the Western world, we don't really see too much T-side opping when it comes to Inferno, where people like to just play for, you know, the quick play with the rifles. But we're going to see it this time out of Wits, and I'm curious to see exactly how he intends to play it here. Maybe they know or have a better idea or understanding of how they're defending this B site, but now we can see Kaze's rotated to be here. They gone for the early 3-man stack towards the B site, however, haven't been able to get that forward ground they would like to. And yet Kaze, I mean, you're just going to burn Wits alive, so I guess that op really not netting anything at all.
Well, Inferno certainly lived up to its name there. They're spamming down, they're nading, and the Molotovs on the bottom banana just completely locking Wits in. He thought he had enough time to make it through, but unfortunately he didn't. And yeah, like you said, Jason, I agree. You don't see too much T-side opping. At least T-side oppers tend to struggle when they do take out those AWPs compared to what they'll have on any other map or indeed on the CT side. Having pulled it out so early was a very aggressive economic decision, and that has certainly not paid off. Bren now need to try and recover this round, or they will fall behind by a little bit, forced down to an eco in the next. Even a bomb plant would help them out quite a bunch. But they've made no progress towards banana, which has typically been where all their success was found up until that previous round, missing out on the smoke.
Well, the angle's being held by Almond. We'll look to back away, however, and it seems like Bren just have such a decent read on the way Vici have been defending. Again, not many rounds. They put 2 players towards B, but this time they do. They go towards the A site. Shokin going to be tucked away inside a pit. He's going to have his teammate off towards the side as well, but Pro is initially going to get that first kill. It leaves, well, Jam Young pretty much by himself on the site. They haven't cleared out pit, though, and that actually might be very good opportunity now for Vici to retake this.
Yeah, they've got a man behind enemy lines. Jam Young waiting for an opportunity to take someone down, but he's been spotted now. His position given away, but not for a kill, and that's a problem. But as the rest of the team push forward, he's a thorn in the side, poking them in the back the whole time, isolating the fight, though. Derek does well, but he's on 1 HP. Needed the headshot, but Kaze too quick on the op, and so a defuse will come through. I absolutely love this graphic on the left side where you can see down to what 0.001 of a second how long is left on the defuse and the bomb. That's fantastic.
I would love that for in-game, because I'm scrub enough to not know when I can defuse and when I can't defuse. But, you know, I think 2 rounds in a row, even though Kaze got the last kill of the round, Jam Young basically won it. Like, the fact is, if you're sitting there in pit, it doesn't matter if you're not, like, trying to retake the site right off the bat. Like, your presence alone is a big enough threat to the enemy team. And honestly, I'm surprised when they have the smokes down towards library and they went for the plan that they didn't just clear out that position right away. Maybe they expected a 4-man stack or something. They already killed Joking, so maybe they thought, all right, well, there's not going to be a second player there. But I don't know. I think a slight overstep by Bren yet again in that round.
Yeah, these simple mistakes are what we don't want to see coming through. The likes of the CT smoke being missed towards B, allowing Pit to be a wide open part of the defense. The big gap. And even despite it, I mean, it didn't come down to play the biggest of roles, but it took one player away from that site who was then focused in towards taking the fight on Pit instead of stopping those 3 players pushing forward. It gave the openings for the likes of the SMG on Advent to actually do some damage. And like you're
Well,
saying, even though he doesn't find a kill, he's still having some pretty serious impact.
I mean, you see, like, the 2 players in Graveyard are, like, looking towards that direction. I think we were on with Kaze, who was kind of, like, holding that angle, looking for them to, like, crawl over to potentially deal with the man pit. But, you know, that position, you imagine a T there instead of a CT, and you're not really coming out of library. You're not coming from that position at all to get back into the site. So, I mean, again, it's early on. You have to avoid being the bottom 2 teams, and I think we've already seen out of Bren. I think they have a decent chance of doing so, but this is obviously a very tough game for them to start off the entire tournament. But imagine a win here. You only meet Vici once. If you can beat them right off the bat, then you're already, you know, in a good position to lock in a top 8 spot. Pyromaniac, I like that. I think if we had one of those for me, I'd be the nose. And you would be the sausage. I think, you know, stuffing. Never mind. So anyways, back into this. That'll be a conversation we have at another time. We're going to be seeing it's still a lead for Vici, 4-3. Still for Kaze. He's been able to maintain this for, I think, what, 3 rounds now, if not 4. And the utility's looking good. And I mean, Bren, they've got really nothing to spend here. They've invested into a couple of pistols. They got a Deagle for Derek. They have an AK for Pro. And they might be able to catch Alman off guard here. But Advent with a nice flashbang to help get his teammate out. And this is more of like the standard play we were kind of expecting, or we do see when it comes to Inferno. The 2 players back towards the B site. But they do have smokes, and hopefully Bren doesn't forget to use them this time.
Well, those smokes are already down. You'll be happy to see, Jason, as they start to blitz in towards that site. Alman's picking up one, and then they start to fall back, create a little bit of distance between the rifles and the pistols. Alman doesn't want to get isolated all too early on, but Pros managed to tuck up close. He was playing up on coffins, waiting for a wide swing with that AK in hand, but not getting the opportunities as the pistols get isolated one at a time. Pros the one that needs to step it up and take the fight. He's got the Kevlar, the helmet, and indeed that AK-47, but Jazz pushing forward on the back of a flash over from the CT side. Did manage to catch one off guard, but unfortunately there's just too many angles to watch. That's the problem. The Pro managed to isolate one fight, do a little bit of damage, but then he shot in the back, and that's the end of his life. And indeed the hopes of the round going to Bren. All things considered though, Jason, getting into that position where they find 3 kills and a bomb plant in a round like that, it definitely isn't the worst. It paints a pretty good picture for how Bren can do.
Yeah, they had like really decent money. But you could see 2K going into that round before they did get the bomb planted. And then, like I said, the kills, the bomb plant in the end, they keep the economy in check out of Vici. More importantly, I think is a big aspect of it. And by the way, I'm so glad you said Ja, because I've been in Germany too long. I was going to call him Ja. Or that's Swedish. Ah, crap. Anyways, we already found out yesterday when it comes to flags, Americans are terrible at figuring out who's from where. But maybe it's just as bad for accents. So anyways, Bren. 3-5. They do have Wits back on the AWP again. In the round, we did see it before he did fall to the Molotov on Akaze. This time looking for an opportunity, and maybe that kind of goes into the whole plan of what they want to do. By the way, they did leave the bomb back towards T stairs, so I'm a little bit worried if they do commit towards this A site push, they're going to forget about it. And we even have 2 players out of Vici towards CT side with Kaze solo holding over towards B. Now, he does have a smoke. But again, the position he's holding, they technically could overwhelm him if he, you know, even if he hits the first shot, if he's not able to escape in time. But I believe he does have a decent angle to get back, but I don't think he can delay them with a smoke anymore.
I was wondering how they were going to approach taking this bomb, because you can't just send a player back down towards T-ramp at this stage of the game, because Kaze could easily be posted on car waiting for that peak. So they'd have to commit utility towards it. So they do a 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. only the site players to deal with, and they've got a decent advantage with the Bees only on the rotate just now. Poppy goes out a little bit too early, though.
Well, they did go for some smokes over towards the B site early in the round, I guess to kind of throw a fake, and they had no smokes left to block off library. They still had Jamyoung just tucked away. He wasn't even in pit at that time. He was over on top of balcony, and he's already proven to be a little bit Brolin-esque, maybe not with the SG, but he's definitely a nuisance that they can't seem to push out of that position anymore.
That was a little bit messy from Bren as well with the spacing pushing forward. You could see Papi Chulo swung out on long a little bit too early before his teammates were fully pushed up short. As they start to come around the corner, though, there's just one at a time. They're going forward, isolated by pit, then by site, then by pit again. And it's just not what you want to see.
Ooh, I like this, though. Shoki pushes up. Those are going to be basically on a save. However, this might work out against them. They just cause it to help protect him. He will eventually fall, though, so that's going to be a gun now down. However, not going to be easy to rescue with Kaze watching. Kaze's not able to hit the shot, and Pro's able to get the AK back in his hands, so maybe a decent chance here. However, Jamyoung, he's tired of waiting for them to come to him. He goes and takes the fight directly to Derek and gets the kill.
So far,
just
Vici
frag hunting now.
So far, Vici have gone for a pretty passive play. I mean, they haven't been getting aggressive at all, so it's peculiar they decide to push down mid on a round where they're versus pistols. Giving that AK over, an opportunity for Pro. He's got a low HP Alman, but I think he just ran out of ammo. He has to get the reload on in towards the spawn, but luckily managed to fade away. And he's causing a lot of noise towards the A site. If they can get a bomb plant this round, is a huge success with the kill already on the board. Pro's going to go back down middle, presumably, and group up with them. Oh, but there might not be anyone to group up with. Advent shuts down that bomb. They've got time now. They know they can concede the site. Wits has to even cross over and non-smoke CT. We've seen how that went before. Almost managed to win the fight with the Tech 9, but not this time. And so 7-3 we go with only one player lost, especially considering the strategy they went for there and how close Advent was to falling, or Alman was to falling in towards spawn. I think they've gotten away with a pretty decent round. They've recovered that nicely to bring it 7-3.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, that was very peculiar for Joking to push down like that up to, against the pistols. I would imagine that's a strat you want to save, or a play you want to save when the enemy team is obviously forced up weapons and you're able to just take that round away completely before they have a chance to really set anything up. And again, we're going to be seeing Wits back on the AWP, and I think we've only seen one kill out of him with it. Again, it kind of limits the speed that T-side can play with, and now we're seeing an aggressive push here. Alman does get very aggressive towards that bomb banana. Doesn't really hear too much there, however. And Advent still has the incendiary, still has the smoke as well to help delay. And that, fantastic start we saw out of Bren, losing the first 2 rounds, then winning the next 3. They've been struggling to really get in towards any of these sites. I mean, even when they do, they're struggling to defend it, like we saw on the A side. And Kaze just catches Wits perfectly. And you never want to see an Opper being the one throwing any utility. You got to be the one holding those art angles, and he pays the price.
That 1-for-1 trade really doesn't set it up well for Vici. Jaws got the angle. He almost managed to take down Advent, but the shots give away his position, and flank slowly coming around from Alman. Advent just needs to delay the time. He couldn't quite, and Alman only gets the one because of it. Now down to a 2 versus 3, and with Bren having all the control, they're looking to move back towards A.
No.
If Pro falls here, that's the bomb dropped, and they won't be able to get the plant on B, which they now see is wide open. They've got to retake straight into that sight line of Kaze with the AWP. He's looking at the site. He catches a player, but a bullet as well, as Derek headshots him out of this universe. Jamyoung's got to win it. He doesn't know where this last player is, although I think he heard the steps and the spray to win the round. Bren came so close, but the decision to stick around towards the spawn by Ja was definitely not the right one.
And Jamyoung again clutches out for his team. 8-3 now for Vici, and yeah, that should have been Bren's round. Like, that was such a smart play to push in towards CT spawn. If he just waited like a second longer, if he pushed a second quicker, he probably should have been caught for the backside out of library. And now they do pay the price, and they do lose themselves another round. However, the loss bonus is there, so they can afford to buy up yet again. They have the AKs, but for me, it's more of the utility that's really lacking, and we're not really seeing them too often flash in each other to go for early kills. I mean, when Kaze doesn't have many flashes, many incendiaries or nades being thrown at him, he can just kind of play his own game, and he's not being forced to play around the way Bren want to play. I mean, back to the drawing board might need to be on the cards here. I mean, this was their choice of map, and if Vici can take it here, then I do think we're going to have a 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, and again, we put those 3 rounds that Vici lost down to a couple of mistakes being made. Now we're seeing a different face from them, even getting aggressive down banana 2 rounds in a row. Last time it wasn't spotted. This time it definitely was. Despite the very awkward duel, Nade very nearly got the kill in the end as well. Pro is just around the corner from it. A slight step to the left and he'd be dead.
Awkward was the word I wanted to use. Exactly with that duel. All right, well, we do see Advent, though, again, has some protection. Kaze through the smoke. Witch just can't get a break. He really can't get a break up against him. He didn't have the op this time, but still. 9 kills and 9 deaths, at least able to break even, but they need him to do a little bit more here as the hit will be coming towards the B side. They're going to push straight through again. No smokes, even though they have Pro with one. They have Derek with one. They're not smoking off CT spawn at all. I guess they're trying to play it off as, okay, we're not hitting B. We're going to go in when you're not expecting it and not, telegraph what we're going to be doing. And at least they get the bomb down, but still in a 2-on-4. I don't know if they can defend this, Mitch.
They're going to need to hit some crispy shots. There's lots of utility in play for Vici. And although the molly doesn't land on a player, they now know back left is clear. That's one less angle to worry about as they come on through. Better crosshair placement for them as they look towards Dark. Jam Young on the swing gets the information for his teammates. He's very low. So is Alman. So if a little bit more damage can come through, what is that from Pro? A double. Both remaining players are 20 HP, but it doesn't matter. Jam Young winning out both of those last fights, and the defuse is possible. They're going to get 9 rounds on the board, no matter how close Bren come in some of these. And a lot of these rounds have been very close. We could well be looking at 6 on the board for the T side, but they just can't close them out.
Well, again, it's like another round. If you smoke off the cross there, you're not going to lose a couple players getting towards the site, right? Though, to be fair, I was really surprised to see how close that round actually came down to on the retake. Like, considering they had 2 players and they had, I think, Pro on low health, to be able to pull it into a 1-on-2, that was extremely close, and Jam Young as well from the CT spawn side. But again, for the AKs instead of the utility, and maybe that's just a sign of like Asia as a region in general when it comes to playing. But I mean, I know I don't cast CS as much as I like to, but I could tell you utility is going to be king on a map like Inferno.
100%. For the CT side, especially when they're looking at smokes, Molotovs, the ability to slow the play and keep those back in such a choke point heavy map. But for the terrorist side, we've already seen utility lose them some rounds on its own towards B, not having the smoke down for CT, even though they had one in play. And I think it's much more common when we look at higher level Counter-Strike that you'll see Galil's being bought up in this situation, even Mac 10s to try and go in for the entry so you can have that extra set of utility, those flashbangs to allow your teammates to go forward, those smokes to really block off some of these angles and give you the option to play a more fake heavy attack. They've only got 2 smokes in play right now, so the option to fake is not there. When they throw this utility out, it has to be commitment. B is where they look to come in with 5 players rushing around the corner.
I mean, great flashbang to allow them to get around that corner, but again, they have no utility to follow up with. No smoke for coffins, no more flashbangs. And, well, Almond's basically holding on almost by himself. Him and Advent just able to lock down this B site. Pro comes around the corner and does get himself 2 kills within the round. The site, well, it's still not clear. Advent's still there, and he's still ticking, and he still wants these kills. This should be the 10th round on the board now for V. And again, Vici Gaming take another round, double digits for them, 10-3. But that's what we're talking about, right, Mitch? Like, if you don't have the utility to back up your push, it's just not gonna, you're not gonna have a good time.
Exactly, Jason. You come in, you lob over your 2 smokes, and from that point forward, it's a Hail Mary. You hope you win every single aim duel, and versus Vici, that's just not been happening. It's a shame. We're seeing so much promise for Bren. And again, look at these rounds where they were like 3v2, they had the B site, but they stuck around. Now, in that situation, I understand, right? Papi Chulo was clearing up B. They didn't want to run into CT players and lose the bomb that way either. But there were so many rounds that could have, with just one decision being a little bit quicker, a little bit more confidence in the strategy they'd gone for, or one shot hitting or not hitting, and they all of a sudden are on a much closer scoreline. You could be looking at an evened up half, but instead they're in this position where they've got pistols and they're likely to give Vici 11 rounds on the CT side, which is not the way they wanted to start this series out.
Yeah, especially when they won 16-7 last time they met back in January. But obviously, January, who knew what was going to be happening in 2020 back in January? Because none of us had a clue as how this year's turned out so far. But again, man, he has the op this time. Going for a double op setup. And he gets himself 2 kills. Just basically the pistols left. Gets caught with the smoke out, but does have some backup there out of Advent. And this should be Vici cleaning things up. He's going to miss the follow-up shot, though. And Advent's going to back away. At least get the smoke down in time. Gets the first through the spray. And well, there's the second as well. Witz is going to fall, and that should be it. 11-3 for Vici. Not a bad start for them, to be honest. And if they can somehow pull off a 12-3 in the first half, you know, I know Bless said, you know, we're going to see a lot of 3 mappers and not a lot of 2-0s, but, you know, I'm feeling a little confident that Vici can close out.
Most fair, but if this is the form that Bren are showing up on, I don't have a lot of faith. I mean, the thing is, what's going wrong for them can be fixed relatively quickly compared to like when you usually see an 11-3. It's like, well, these guys suck. But I think for Bren, they can very easily recover from this. It's just about going back and understanding the fundamentals of playing CS as a team, how they're working around their utility and around themselves. As in terms of players, they're not bad. Oh my god, the spray down through the wall, it was doing so much damage, but Alman just pulls out the deagle to punish Pro. But at least the trade back and losing a player towards A sends Advent rotating. Now Alman's all by himself on that B site with, again, quite a passive hold, and that's another opportunity for Bren. The problem yet again is their utility as they come in with just 2 smokes before we even hit a minute on the clock.
Are they going to get to use any of this? Advent, he did not see the 2 players moving in towards CT. Now this should work out for them. I don't see a world where Alman can defend at the B site by himself with the AWP against 4 players pushing in. Nice little slip through defense here out of Bren. And now let's see if Alman can defend this. Flashbang comes through, not able to hit that first from all angles, and he's going to fall. And well, maybe we won't be seeing that 12-3 as we're going to look to see Ya pick up the... I don't know what I'm saying. Ja to pick up the op. And a 4-on-3 after plant situation.
Oh, yeah.
Also, it is German. Why did I question myself?
I don't know, Jason. It's early morning, man. I'll forgive you.
It's the J's. You know, Jason is what I always hear people call me when it comes to Swedish.
So the thing here, Bren got away with murder, not having those smokes because they had such a passive hold. They could walk up long on A without really facing into anybody and not having to smoke them off. Great shots to finish things off as Derek takes a double. On 11-4 we go. And normally the reason that they probably have an off playing around A long angle or flash him even around because you've got such... You'll end up in a spot where you walk in, he finds 1 kill, maybe fades it back if he's still got a molly. Now you're screwed. You can't even smoke the molly to speed up. And instead, there was a super passive hold by Advent. He was playing... he loves his passive holds. Towards library, he wasn't peeking. And then you solo holding. It's been pretty crazy. He's not a very aggressive guy.
But what? He's not aggressive, but he's nice. He's straight down middle. Abachu's going to open up with the first, and you know, towards Banana, and they're gonna look to actually Ryan earlier on or behind enemy lines. Maybe it's a little bit of a different movie. Jam Young's life for a little bit of time and at least put it all on Witz. Now he's trying to push in through the Molotov and the smoke, and well, the pistol round, honestly, that was a massive one that Bren needed to win to really get some momentum, some steam built up here into the second half, and unfortunately the aggressive play doesn't work out for them.
No, I appreciate the mindset, though, that they're keeping themselves in. Like, let's just get in their face. Let's wreck them. Problem is, when that doesn't work out, you feel a bit silly. When it goes 12-4 and now you side, that's a very aggressive decision at this stage of the game. Having not done any damage to the T side as well in the previous round. I mean, if you lose this one, you are screwed. Vici go up 14-4 because they have to eco then the next round. The upside is on Inferno, there's lots of angles you can use these pistols. Like, this is the place for force buys. You have the highest rate of winning those force buys as well. It's a gamble, and one that needs to pay off for Bren.
They do have the 2 players over towards the B site here. I mean, Witz is going to be... I'm going to do this too much. Ja.
Love it if it turns out to actually just be.
To us, let us know. There's not really too many teams in what they're up against. Teams in Asia who have been at majors many times before. There we go. Jamin trying to throw a distraction. And, well, I didn't expect him to get 2. I expected the first. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty clean round here now. But, yeah, it's going to still be boosted up. God, this is too hard. Sometimes it's too early. He does get himself, you know, a kill at least. It's not going to be enough to save the round for them, unfortunately. Jamyang was able to help stall any sort of rotations back in towards the B side. Now, Pampachulo does have the MAC-10, does have a CZ. But he's got 3 players to find, and already has, I believe that's going to be Advent basically looking directly at his angle when he comes around this corner.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be unwinnable for Pappy, which is very unfortunate. He picks up a rifle, but how do you get out of here? And he didn't even pick it up just yet. He's gone for the MAC-10 spray. Fair play. Good lad. Nade around. He's dead. Oh, he might just have taken the other 2 with him. The bomb damage not going to hit Advent. Alman, though, on 9 health. Yeah, he goes down. Good stuff. At least they've done serious damage. The problem is, as we said, that was the force buy. And it would be different if Bren could full buy up here. And they could, you know, have their M4s, their ops, or whatever, and actually beat Vici's economy down and pull up 13-6 with this 1-round win. Problem is, realistically, they should be ecoing. And, well, that's not setting up a great position.
There's the formula. That's how you do it. It's more like, oh, okay, that worked, but you don't know if it's going to ever happen again. KNG with an opening.
And they isolated him, took him down, got a free rifle. And now good opportunity, at least.
You know, it's not enough that they get to do all these events. They got to come into our event and try to cast over us, all right? This is our town right now. No, but this is going to be the bomb planted. This should be the 14th round for Vici, and obviously we're seeing Bren try to look for a kill or 2. We do have Derek, who's able to rescue an AK and help alleviate some pressure when it comes to funds into, you know, round number 19 and obviously potentially a 15th for Vici. But not a bad round here for Vici to kind of, you know, get their economy in a stable position. Obviously, if Bren are going to go on... This is the thing for me, is that the money changes that always kind of frustrated me a little bit is if you're fighting from behind, like Bren's now going to be doing, Vici's just going to have like a buy after buy after buy. And none of these rounds, like you're really not going to get a breather unless you see Vici like take a round off just to get some extra funds for maybe an op or something. I always find it so hard to fight back from behind, especially when you see, you know, score lines like this. The opposing team's always just going to have a buy against you.
Look, Jason, realistically, when you're 14-4 down, I think the map's pretty much gone for you. You got to accept that coming in.
And Bless sitting there like, ha, Mitch thinks this is over.
We've been doing the Asian Pro League qualifiers as well.
Oh, you've been doing that as well? Okay.
Yeah, we're more than used to it. I think both of us now at this point, Jason. The game that you're like, oh look, it's like 11-0. This is we're in overtime. How did we get here? What's happening?
Well, it looks like we're gonna see Vici go for at least a little bit of a bait over towards utility at the A site. And Witz is going to be waiting over towards Banana. He's basically by himself, but I do like his position. The only problem is he doesn't have a smoke. So if they do come through, if they flash him, which they're doing perfectly, he can delay with the incendiary, but if they counter smoke and push through it, then he could be completely overwhelmed. But again, they force the rotation, they bait out the utility. Even Ya is able to get a first kill over in towards mid.
An opening build for Bren, even with low HP on Ya, 7 health remaining. He falls back to the A site and he's got some head peek angles to play around there. Pappy could be in a little bit of trouble. Oh, there we go. Pro spotted the back as he comes on up middle. Nade onto Zoking and Advent is good, but Pro on the flank is the one to do the damage here. He's just stampeding up, and they don't hear him somehow. They've got the earplugs in. That's a bit of an awkward one. As Alman tries to pull it back, he just can't do it. Vici should just take pistols, Jason. So at least this should be 14-6.
I mean, remember what we were just talking about, Mitch?
I believe in
there.
In the Asian Counter-Strike region, I don't think Caster's Curse exists. I think the games are just cursed from the beginning.
I can see Blair there, just like with a cat stroking its head softly, like you know, with the evil laugh. We were talking about before, thinking this would be, you know, potentially a quick first map. But still, I mean, obviously 14-5. That's a lot of rounds that you're still behind, and with a lot of mistakes we've seen on our Bren side already on the T side, I would imagine they're potentially going to have some on the CT. But let's see. Looking to group up over towards B a bit. Again, leaving Jam Young to play the kind of lurk role over towards A. You just have some utility to use, so maybe could force a rotation back. But look at this. Pro, he's put on the edge of the smoke. Jaw's going to throw another smoke down. And they're going to just basically play contact, it seems.
You know, the flashes come over here as they just blitz around the corner looking for the close range fights. And here's the advantage of pushing with utility. This is what we didn't see from Bren when it came down to that T-side offense. At most, it was a smoke down towards CT and hope for the best. But for Vici, it's clean and clinical. The flash goes over to blind CT and sight. They focus first to the CT player, then another flash over the site, take down the player first oranges. Easy as can be. One at a time they fall. And Bren, like dominoes, they just disappear. They're now flat out of this round, trying to save those 3 weapons. Vici not in a position really where they should be hunting too aggressively, especially with the weapons they've managed to upgrade, but they're going to hit 15 rounds on the board. And at that point, I argued this even in EU Counter-Strike, I feel like when a team's 15-5 up, it is so much harder to win any rounds. Not just because of pressure and all this sort of stuff, but they can literally just go, hey, let's just rush a random part of the map. Like, they don't have to play by the rules anymore.
Exactly. I mean, how do you play against a team who can play so unpredictable, realizing they have, you know, 10 rounds to play with just to get one? But they're gonna try, obviously. We're gonna see, you know, weapons being thrown into this, but still not the actually not that bad. I thought it was gonna be a little bit worse than it turned out to be. I mean, Jaws, you're missing a bit of utility. It's even much harder now to go on the CT side and look to kind of recover from that, especially confidence-wise.
CT side. We'll see if Bren have got that, what it takes to make that happen. They're making a lot of noise on A, trying to get Vici to rotate back to the B site, where they just had a 3-man stack, at least early for Pro to throw down some utility and get them more advanced control. But even still, it's quite a passive angle being held by Wits.
I'm looking at the utility that they used over at the A site now. Like, they didn't really have, you know, full belts of utility across the board completely, but they use so much utility. And look how much time's left on the round here. We still have 50 seconds left to go. They have 2 smokes to defend with. They have 2 flashbangs. That's it. And if the bomb does go down, to retake without any utility, that's already going to be hard. I mean, it was already hard before, but it's even going to be more difficult on top of that, especially with them all grouped up on the A side. Luckily, Bren's going to have 3 players to defend, but they're going to get the wrap around towards long. They might even go for the pincer towards B. Leave Jamyoung there just to watch the rotations. Okay, we're not going to go B. They're going to go A. Commentator's curse right there, but they already spot the first one. Papachulo, he's going to fall. I believe Derek's there as well, and I mean, he's pretty much their saving grace now.
He's going to try to be swinging out. There's so many players here, isolating 2 fights and taking them across the line. That keeps Bren in with a chance to win this round. Sometimes they'd save this, but not when it's 15-5. They've got to go, and the problem is they have no info now. It's been too long. Vici have tucked into their little corners, their crevices that have to be cleared out, and there's no utility. They've got to do this dry. With the setup they've got as well, moving in through short, they're going to face all 3 players. This round should be done.
On the crossfires as well. The second they see a player towards short, they can just peek in together, and that's going to be cause. I mean, one, that's all you really needed now. Puts Wits in a 1-on-2 with the AWP. He gets the quick shot onto Advent, looking for the second as well, and Almond plays this perfectly. He backs away. The bomb planted directly for him now. He taps the bomb, and with 4 seconds left, he can't even defuse it anymore. And that should be it. That will be Vici winning the first map here in this series, 16-5.
An absolutely clean game from them. I got to say, surprising me in how dominant they were, considering